All right, welcome to a special edition of Beer-Gineers. So, as you may or may not know, I do brew my own beers, and I've done a couple of barrels recently, which I filmed through it. So I thought it'd be interesting to get Nick to review my beers. Now they are cheating; they're extract, so this is the easiest way to make beer. Full disclosure. So it'd be interesting to see what Nick thinks of them, because obviously not going to be dippers or trippers or your usual sort of stuff.
They're but I like your beers. You've got a distinct style. It's like a porter. Yeah. They're like variations of
well they do. That's
4 or 5% porter. That's like your sort of.
Yeah. I agree. So when I say the extract, I like to mix things up a bit. I don't necessarily do the base recipes. I'll mix very basic mixing extracts. On this one, I've got there's 2 beers. One is a porter, and the other one is I suppose it's a bitter. It's a pale ale essentially. I think really old school sort of one. And what we're going to do, we'll this is the introduction. I'll put the process I've gone through after this, and then we'll do some tasting and see what Nick thinks. Excited?
I am, yeah.
I don't want any bullshit. I want you like the absolute truth. You don't like it, you don't like it.
Oh, yeah.
I expect nothing else. Great. Right, so, and apologies beforehand on this. It took a long process, and I'm not sure the sound's great now, and I may have to do some talkovers on some of them because I think the mic broke out halfway through on some of it. But let's see where we go.
You need a good thumbnail on this, because this is the most work that's ever gone into one of our videos, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'll have to think it.
He deserves.
Well, they've seen the thumbnail
to get some eyes on it. Yeah.
Okay, we'll see. I might get you involved.
All right.
Something like that. That's usually yours. Anyway, Grant.
Right.
Cut. Okay, so these are the extract kits I'm going to use to brew. This one is a set kit from Festival. They do great beer kits, very good beers out of these guys. And this one's called Pilgrim's Hope, which I've done before. It's like it's an ale. It's like a good solid ale. Comes in around about 5% of your property. So I'm not going to be messing around with either of these kits. Sometimes I will, but that's kind of a bodge together anyway. The Irish stout and the malt extract. But sometimes I'll mix up extracts, or change the hops, or use different types of sugars, that sort of thing, to change the flavors in the beers. Not really much. It's a really easy, simple way of making beer, to be honest. I've done the mash and asparage and all that sort of stuff, and it's good. But I'll be honest, these sort of kits come out with beer almost just as nice, as far as I'm concerned. Doing it the proper way takes nearly a day. A good day. This, I've got about 2 hours to do this. So yeah, let's see. So what I've got here is Cooper's Irish Stout and a dark extract malt. So if we go over here, we've got the Festival kit. Let's show you what's in here. That's so easy to open one-handed. So within here, you get instructions. You get hot pellets. You get the yeast. You get priming sugar. You get dextrose. And you get one big, ignore that, one big bag of malt extract. And that, along with a little bit of care and cleanliness and time, makes you some really nice beer. So let's go on to the next one. Okay, so now on to the next bit, the actual brewing bit. So I spent the last half hour, 3/4 an hour disinfecting everything. So let me see if this will work. Flip it. So that's the kit. Now, one thing I advise if you're ever brewing is do not drink while you're brewing, because it messes it up. But yeah, sometimes it's too tempting. Anyway, so what we've got here, this is the Cooper's. So with the cap, you get the yeast with it. Don't need to add any extra sugar, because that's the additional sugar. And then the rest of the bits for the Festival kit are there. So items here, you see, I've got all the stuff I've disinfected in there as well. It's all nice and clean, although it doesn't look because it's see-through onto the, you can see the countertop through it. Anyway, so what I've started to do, so I've put the first malt in there and just putting these in hot water. And the reason you do this is because it's quite sticky, gloopy stuff. So just stick them in there, leave them for about 15 minutes or so. That's hot water. So that really just softens them up and allows you to be able to easily empty those containers. So essentially, this is so easy, the next bit. I get those barrels, 2 of those tins go into one barrel, empty it, and then the bag into the other barrel, or bin, should I say, fermentation bin. And then I put about 2 litres of hot water in, boiling water, mix it all about, get it nice and soft, and then add water to top it up, then yeast on the top. So I'll go through that with you. Anyway, first of all, nice. That's what it's all about, making that. Actually, you might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. This is a nice German beer, special. What's it called? Ammerendorfer Special. 5.3%. Very nice German beer. Recommend it. A bit nutty. It's a aged German lager. That's basically what the specials are. Give that 8.5 straight off. There are 3 of you stuck in as well while we're at it. Okay, so next. Okay, so here I am. I've got this one out of the hot water. This is the malt bag, the extract. So all I'm going to do, again, I've disinfected this. Cut this open. You can see it's like a big gloopy, you can see in there. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to shift this around. Hopefully this doesn't fall over. Right, there's the barrel. So basically it's a case of just dumping all of this in there, easy peasy. And then just to make sure you get every last bit out of it. And this is the benefit of heating it up. It allows you to pour all that in. It smells gorgeous. It's really nice sort of malty smell out of it. The last little bit of that in there. It's not wanting that. Get the last little bit in. Again, fully disinfected. That can go in the bin. Right. So next step is to get some hot water in there. 2 litres about. So next, I'm going to add the dextrose that came with this recipe. Again, open this up. Get my disinfected. Add that in. So actually, looking at them, this needs 3 litres of hot water in this one. So get the hot water into that, and then mix it all up. So now I'm adding the water. I'll just do this through a kettle, so I do it bit by bit. So there's a first litre of hot water going in, boiling water. Give that a bit of a mix up first. Get that well mixed as much as you can. Doesn't hurt to do it quite rigorously, get a bit of oxygen in there. Right, that's on my hand. Tastes good. Right, more water. So here we are, kettle in the background going for the last litre of water. So another litre of hot water in there. Again, guess what I've done with this? The jug, disinfected it. Everything that goes anywhere near this, you disinfect before you use it. Even my thermometer that I'm going to use later on, all of it. Just disinfect, be crazy about it. So now, final liter of hot water in there. So that's basically, I've just poured the extract in here, the dextrose, and 3 liters of hot water, and stir the hell out of it. Make sure it's well dissolved in that. Doesn't hurt to get a bit of air in there now as well. Alright, so next I'm just going to fill this up to, I believe, 23 liters. I'll be able to mark it on the side there. I'm going to sort of drop the water in from a height because I want to get oxygen in there to help with the fermentation. So I've even disinfected the cap on the tap. So next step. So here I am. I've got about to add the hot water or the cold water to it. And that's it, really. I'll wait until this is full, and then I'll show you what to do next. So there we are, 23 liters I've got up to. So next, it's fairly simple. Give it a big stir. No, I'm pretty sure I don't need to, considering the way I added the water. But it doesn't hurt to give it a good old whack with the stir. Making sure there's nothing on the bottom, but I've kind of done that already. Okay, so now it's time to add the yeast, which I got with the pack. So left over, I've got the hot pellets, which I have to leave it ferment for 5 days before adding those. And then the priming sugar, which I essentially add to the barrel when I'm after the fermentation's over. It gets a bit of pressure in the barrel. So quite literally just a case of, quite simply, spread the yeast around the top. I just leave it as it is. Next, I just fit the lid. Next, I'm just going to add the airlock. I just need to put a bit of water in here. I'm going to put some boiled water just to make sure, again, sterilized. Actually, I've just realized I've forgotten one very important thing. Okay. So this is the wrong way around. Normally you do this before you put the yeast in, but I've forgotten. So what I'm going to do is take a measurement, a specific gravity measurement. Again, all this has been disinfected, although don't really need to disinfect this. So I'm not going to put this back into the beer anyway. Let's get a little bit more. That'll do. Don't want to waste anything. Now, I should put the cap back on. Then I'm going to show you what I do with this next. Okay, so I've tested temperatures around 21 degrees, which for ales is grand, spot on really. So next, I'm just going to measure the specific gravity by putting a hydrometer here, and I think this is measuring basically how much sugar is in it. I'm going to need my glasses for this. So spin to get the bubbles off. It's not sitting around about 44. So that's 0.004 0.44 or 0.044, I can't remember. 44 on the hydrometer. So what I'm going to do is measure that down, and then when I'm finished the fermentation, about to put in the barrel, I'm going to do that measurement again, and that'll be hopefully a lot further down. And that will give me an idea of the sort of alcohol content. I can put that through a calculator on the internet. Don't do it by myself on paper. And it gives you sort of the strength, gives an idea of how strong it is. So you don't really need to go through this, because the pack itself says it should come out around 5%, and usually they're fairly accurate. So this one's the Pilgrim Ale. Pilgrim's Hope, it's called. Yeah, from Festival. So that's that. I'll mark that down. And then it's just a case of, let me flip this around. How's that looking? That's good. And then really all I'm going to do, I've got my airlock. Put some boiled water in there just to try to keep the sterilization going. And then seal it in. Push that bung in first, which has also been, guess what, disinfected. And that's it. So leave this for 5 days in a warm room, and then stick in the hops. Then about another 5 days is good to go into the barrel. So on to the next beer, the Irish Stout. Okay, now it's on to the next brew, which is the sort of tweaked Irish Stout from Cooper's. So my plan is to stick both of these extracts in. I think I'm going to tweak it a little bit. I've got some New World Strong Ale East, M42 for stouts and porters. So I'm hoping this will be better than the one that's come. Although to be fair, these do the job, but I fancy tweaking the brew slightly. Don't know how much a difference it's going to make. Anyway, so open these guys. So, okay, so that's them open. Next, you're going to put them into the, stick them in there. And goes number one. Now this time what I'm going to do when I'm adding the hot water, I'm going to stick some of it into these tins just to make sure you get all the yeast, or the malt out of it. Again, the benefit of heating, you get it all out quickly. Oh, this is a good, small, strong, malty, licoricey smell coming out of this. I think this is going to be quite a dark stout, which is what I want, which is why I'm adding this. Let's see how this turns out. So as you can see, big heap of malt in there, malt extract. Smells really nice. Extra hot water. Okay, so first liter hot water is good. I'm just going to pour it all into here. You need this towel because these cans get so hot with the boiling water in it. And then it's just a case of swirling around a bit. Trying to dissolve as much of that as you can. So I'll get the rest of that with the last liter of water. So next, you stir that up, get it as dissolved as possible. Right. Okay, so we got the second liter. So the second can, I'm going to do the same again. Actually, I might stick this in, give it a bit of a stir, try to get it out Should have done that with the last one. Much better results. Scald in my hand. Oh man, it's hot. Alright, so good stir. And then with the last liter, I'm just going to try get what I can out of those cans, anything that's left in it. Maybe do the caps as well. Okay, last liter is ready to go. I'll put all of it in there for the moment. Trying not to scald my hand this time. Yeah, you can see that's taking all that up. So what I'm going to do as well, just to get as much use of the malt as possible, try to do is get some of this without scalding my hand. Unsuccessfully, hand scalded. Right, that last bit. So that's it. Next, I'll try doing the right way this time. So I'll add the cold water, bring it up to 23 liters. This, before I add the yeast, I'll take the temperature and measure the specific gravity. Not that it's really going to make that much difference. Just showing the yeast respect more than anything else. Okay, that looks nicely mixed in with the cold water. Okay, so now stick that on. Let that fill up. So there we go. 23 liters. Next step. Do a good mix. Oops. There's always a bit of cleanup when you're brewing. Before and after. Alright, happy with that. So next we're going to just take a temperature measurement. It's only 16. So I'm going to have to add hot water to that to bring it up to about 21-ish. That's a pain in the ass. All right. Okay, so I've added some more hot water to it and I've got it up to, let's see, 21. Oh, I stopped going up. Yeah, it's about 21, about 22. That'll do. That's good. So that's the sort of temperature you want for the reason you want to get to that sort of temperature so the yeast will ferment well. Okay. Next. You should go for like a measurement, a specific gravity measurement. Oh, it's black as tar. You need to give this time sometimes to fill up. That should be enough. Okay. Okay, so let's get lots of bubbles on the top of this. That's not great. Don't want them giving any extra buoyancy you don't need. See where we're at. Give it a bit of a spin, get that bubbles off it. So I'm reading that at around 40, so it'll be 1.1040 specific gravity. Just at 40. Okay, I'll note that down. So next, just need that yeast. So I'm going to stick in the yeast, sprinkle it over the top as last time. So it'll be interesting to see what effects this has on the taste of the beer. So 1042 New World Strong Ale yeast. Let's see how that goes. You can see that. Right. Then it's just cap and airlock, which I'll do now. So one more thing I'm going to do is measure the temperature. See what it's at. Ideally, I want it to be just below about 25 degrees C, if it'll do. That's coming about 20, 21. That should be okay. I'll just go consult the diaries. If it's not, I'll add a little bit more hot water just to try to bring up temperature. So take the cap on. Keep that nice and tight. I'll top up some hot water into the airlock. Put that on. Put the rubber bung in. Cap in. Job done. That's it. So that's going to be about 10 days, just like that. I'm not adding, don't need to add any extra hops or anything halfway through. So hopefully it'll be good. So as you can see, it's very simple. So there we go. That's 2 barrels of 23 litres of beer brewed within about 2 hours. Well, not brewed, but starting. So I'm going to put both those in our living room, warmest room in the house. So within 10 days, I'll have beer ready to put in the barrel. So I hope you can see it's really easy to do. It's worth trying, especially if it's just extract. Like I said, it's cheating in a way. But generally, the beer is good. You might want to check and see what your local water is like, because I've just used tap water. Through experience, it's pretty good here. It's hard water, but it seems to be good for brewing, from what I can see. So yeah, give it a go. See what you think. Enjoy. Okay, so the fermentation process is finished now. I can tell by looking inside and making sure there's no bubbles coming through. I did have to leave the fermentation bins for, rather than 10 days, it's more like 11, 12 days. I think really just fluctuations in the heat of the room while it was where it was left. Probably slowed it down a little bit. Nonetheless, I'm happy that it's finished. I have checked and I left it for an extra day once I saw the bubbles had stopped, just to be sure. I want to get the maximum alcohol out of it that I can. So again, here what I've got now, I've got my barrels, which I'm going to transfer the beer into. They've been, as per usual, fully sanitized, fully disinfected, and rinsed thoroughly. Likewise, again, any tools I'm going to use, so mainly this transfer tube. And if you have a look at it, you can see the filter at the bottom of it, and it's a very handy hand pump to get the flow moving. It's quite good. I like it. It's the best one I've come across. There's multiple out there. These are the easiest. So the process of what I'm going to do is basically just add priming sugar into the barrel, pump it from here to there, until it fills up, and then leave it in a warm area for usually about a week. 2 weeks isn't going to hurt, but maybe it's about a week, and then transfer it to somewhere cooler for storage, where I generally leave them for at least about 2 months or so before you can even start to taste. A couple of months in the barrel improves the taste so much better. So yeah, I'm going to go with the camera, show you what it looks like inside the bins, and then we'll go through the rest of the process with you. Okay, so this is what the barrels, or the bins, sorry, look like once the fermentation has finished. Let me see. So here we have the ale, and you can see that's basically all that on the top. It doesn't look pleasant. That's all the pretty much most of the hops floating on top. Fermentation is stopped. You can see there's no bubbling. It's just steady as a rock. Likewise for the porter. You can see nice and black. Not any additional hops in there. Steady. Nothing happening there at all. So for me, that means it's time to put it in the barrels. Then it's just waiting until the best time, which is drinking time. Okay, so a couple of tips about prepping for this phase. One, obviously said already, this needs to be pristine and sanitized internally. But one thing that, one of the biggest pain in the necks that can happen is the seal around the tap leaking. So before you do anything, you want to make sure that that's fully sealed from the back. A nice tight seal, nice gap. You don't want any gas coming out of there. Sometimes you might see stains down the barrel as it leaks out over time. If you have that problem, now in the past, if there is beer in the barrel, sanitize your hands as much as possible. Give them a clean, good rinse, and you can go in. It's not recommended, but you can open the top, go in. I'd recommend putting a little bit of gas in there if you can first. Open the top, stick your hand in and tighten it up. It's not ideal. It's not great. Risky as well. Anyway, so the other tip with the lid, I normally rub a bit of petroleum jelly around the inside, not a lot, just a little bit in your finger, and just rub it. Make sure you get some onto the treads of the cap. So when you're sealing it down, it gives a good airtight seal. Next step, priming sugar. In this particular one, for the ale, I've got it came with a pack. I'm gonna have to make up my own for the porter / stout. So just stick that in there. There's 100 grams on this one. I usually put about 100 grams anyway in. Right, that's that in. Next, let's get the water out of there. Let's get the beer into the barrel. So, right, get that in there. There's a filter on it. And then as you can see, it started. So now it's just a case of waiting till the barrel fills. I've forgotten one thing I realised. Normally I have a cable tie that I'll tie on to the handle just to keep it in place. Okay, so I've now tied this off, and I've tied it off up here just to make sure nothing slips while I'm waiting, because it takes a while for this to pass all the way through. One tip which I didn't say earlier is with the bins. These bins have been sitting up here since last night, so they've probably had a good maybe 8-9 hours sitting up there. I would like to do that before put them into a raised position and leave them there to settle. So I just want all this fermentation, all this yeast or whatever at the bottom of the bin to settle, and have the beer as clear as they can make before putting it into the barrel. Right, so I'll wait till that fills up. So voice over time, as my mic battery ran out and I didn't notice. So you can see I'm onto the second barrel now. I've moved both barrels to the ground so they can have gravity aid me, speed it up. The further they are away from the bucket, the faster the process is. So you can see it's now coming to the end, as you can see if you're looking closely, you can see that there's no more beer in the pipe. So what I'm doing here, which you can't see, is tipping the bucket over slightly to give a bit of depth for the last few dregs, and pumping the last few bits of beer out. Waste not, want not, after all. Put a bit of effort into making this one and get as much as I can. So generally, I didn't get a huge amount extra, but it's worth it. So here I am sitting down. I don't know what I'm talking about here. Can't remember. So obviously got a cap, just discussing possibly the process. I'm sticking the cap on. Now I left this bit in because I want to show you the tool I used. It's a very handy tool for tightening the cap. And it's really important that you get a good, solid, tight seal on the top of this. Because this is one of the areas where in the past I've had issues with pressure, air getting in, etc. So it's you get a really, really tight grip on that and really tighten it. I've done this on both to make sure. So I'd recommend getting one of these tools. You can find it from most brew shops. Really easy, really help. So from this point on, that's the job really done. Might be worth giving them a bit of a shake, but after this, then I've just basically put both of these barrels somewhere back into my living room where it's relatively warm. It's around about 22, 25 degrees C, hopefully. And I leave that for about a week so that you can get some secondary fermentation in the barrel. After that point, I'll then just move them somewhere cool and dark, ideally, generally in my garage. Usually see these sitting behind you when I do my beer reviews. So yeah, that's it. So after this, it's next on to the review to see what Nick actually thinks of these beers. So when we've done this review, these barrels have been sitting in the garage for about 2 months. On to the review. Right, so hopefully you've watched it, or maybe fast forward all the way through to get to this point. So as you can see, it's quite an easy process. Its main thing is cleanliness and time. That's really all it is. So,
well, easy stuff. That's from a position of experience. Then.
True. So this is what they look like in the end. So this one is the Irish Porter. So this was, if I can remember what the hell it was. So it's Cooper Stout extract with the extra dark extract. And I used, what did I put into this one? Hold on, where is it? Basically I used that, and I used the additional yeast, which I can't remember what it was. I'll have to review it back again. So there's a special yeast I used as well.
Do you use a different yeast every time, or do you keep the same strain?
No, different yeasts.
Do you?
Yeah. Like so sometimes
you've been tempted to just gather it and keep it going if you've got a good one like the commercial brewers.
No, not too much hassle.
Okay.
To be honest, it is too much hassle. But it might be something I do. But because I do different types of brews, you want different types of yeast depending on what you're doing as well. So as you can see, that's come out nice and black, really thick. And
it just looks like an English bitter. Looks like Timmy Taylor, something like that. It's like a nut brown.
Well, it is darker. Yeah, it's kind of dark, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think this Pilgrim's Hope was the name of the...
That's a nut brown.
Yeah. It's a festival, Pilgrim's Hope. We do excellent kits. So I've renamed them as per usual. So this one is that's Rex Rescue, and that one is Fred's Dark Secret. Which, if you know Fred,
if you know, you know.
Dark secrets. So we're going to give it a taste. So which one do you want to go for first?
Let's go for the lower ABV one first, or unless they're the same. Let's go for the English.
I'm trying to remember
because I'm guessing that the porter's got the more powerful flavour. So let's go for the English ale.
Okay, let's go for that.
Okay.
So this is Pilgrim's Hope or Rex Dark Rescue or Rex Rescue.
So there's an interesting, like a funky note coming off that, almost like Old Peculiar.
Ooh.
I'm getting off that. I'm getting the malts, but I'm also getting like a medicinal.
It does smell like the medicinal, body, doesn't it? Yeah.
Maybe a bit of sharpness to it as well. Maybe I don't know.
There is, yeah. I'm not saying anything because it's you.
Okay. I think it's just best to dive in.
Yeah.
Chin chin.
Aren't you?
Ooh. Okay, so you get it's almost like an Old Peculiar hit at the beginning, and then it goes into a nice, delicate maltiness at the back. I mean, it's like a draft beer. It's just you can only get that from proper live beer. You know what I mean?
It's straight out of the barrel behind us. Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't like this sort of beer on bottle. I only really like it in draft form. So it's really smooth. The body's fairly light, not that light. Quaffable sweetness. ABV, I'd say that was about 4.5%.
It's around a bit, yeah, about 4. I think it's just under 5 from what I remember.
Yeah, okay.
My measurements, I
guess. Quaffable, yeah.
That's why there's not much of it left at the moment, to be honest. Some of Erin, my daughter's friends, have got in here and had some tastes. Wow.
Okay. Doesn't taste like what it looks like. I expected it to going to be.
There's not a bit of floral as well in them.
It's more floral at the back. I was expecting like a malty back end, and it's not.
And there's like a nice little bitterness that hangs on afterwards. I quite like.
Yeah. What hops do you use in that? Or what hop extract? Goldings or Fuggles or something like that.
I can't remember. I don't know what's in it actually. To be honest, it's a fixed malt kit. So this is like, just if you haven't seen the video yet, obviously. So this one comes in. Essentially, you get a bag of extract.
Okay.
That's got everything in it. And likewise on this particular one, I think I used the yeast that came with it. So right, onto the stout.
What's this one called again?
This one's called Fred's Dark Secret.
Fred's Dark Secret.
This is a mix from Cooper's stout extract, Irish stout extract, and I used an extra dark malt extract as well as a secondary extract with it. And then I think, if I remember, I use a strong, a dark ale yeast.
The only thing I'm getting off that is, because I've just drunk that one, is a hint of licorice.
Yeah,
slight hint of licorice. Yeah, so not bitter licorice. Let's go for it, Chin Chin. Yeah, definitely licorice. There's a sharpness to it, actually. A little bit of sharpness to it. And where it's coming from, is that the hops? Or at the end, you've got a little bit of a sharpness. It's quite dry.
Well, it should be. It's a dry Irish stout, yeah. It's not a smorgasbord of flavours.
It's quaffer.
Yeah, it is.
It tastes like that one. Well, it's gone, but that one tasted like I'd guess that had a higher ABV.
Yes, it definitely did. Yeah. This one's around about...
This I'm guessing 4-ish.
Yeah, it's around about 4.1-ish, I think.
But nice, well, look at it. Nice body, yeah.
Normally comes out with a bit of a head, but it's been sitting around it for
so I'd say that's just like a classic Emmett porter.
Yeah. The way you like them. Tastes even better when they're free.
Especially if you're buying 12. Seen that one I did yesterday? I've only put it up today.
I saw for
12 quid. No, I put one up at Chubble's quad.
Oh yeah, I saw it come up at watch that.
Yeah, 12 quid that was.
Chubble's quad.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch that.
So after that, I'm loving a bit of freebie. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Rating. So
but you give the rating. I'm not going to rate my own beer.
Mm-hmm.
So what about so that one first, is that's fresh in the mind. That's Fred's Dark Secret.
Strangely enough, I actually prefer that.
Oh, there's more taste to that. There's more interest.
I'm drinking them side by side.
Yeah.
If I was drinking them like just in isolation, it'd be difficult to say. But there's more
alcohol.
More alcohol. More sweeter as well because it's quite dry.
I agree.
So as an ale, I'd give that one 7. I'd give that one 8.
Nice. 7 and 8. Really, I didn't expect that. Very happy with that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. You can have.
But I'm conditioned to like these beers. We've been drinking for so long.
True. Yeah.
Just like my son memory now.
Yeah, I've just never had you taste them before, as in like an official.
Okay, right.
Marking,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's like I say, you'd have this in the pub. you'd be very pleasantly surprised. Like I say, fair play to him. I need to learn myself. I was going to get the gear, but
it's so easy.
Yeah,
but the way you can, I've done it the proper way, and it's a lot of effort, mainly a lot of time, getting everything, just following the recipe, getting the stuff together. These extract things, they make it so easy, and the beer is good. And you can do a little bit of modification, like things like on the really cheap ones. You can I've done things like replacing some of the sugar with treacle or golden syrup or things like that. You can do all sorts of little brown sugar, white sugar, crystals. There's all different things you can do with it, but it just makes it so easy. Yeah. Anyway,
well done, sir.
Thank you very much. All right, thanks for watching. I hope you've watched it. If you have fast forwards to here, go back and have a look and see if it's any interest to you.
I'm looking forward to seeing it myself.
All right. Hopefully, sometimes I have problems where the voice might be slightly different to the mouth because something went wrong, but I'm trying to adjust that. We'll see. It might be fixed by the time I watch this. Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Bye.